Hello. Right, I started streaming. I thought it would take longer. Let's see. Stream is healthy. Great. So, yesterday off stream, I worked a bit on octussy and implemented the ability for the user to pick their own glyphs. And something that I said I wasn't gonna do, I did, and now the user can. Let me see it. Yeah, they can decide whether they use nerd defaults or octussy defaults via a flag. By default, they use nerd font, glyphs. Yep. And the best thing, it's exactly what you think it is. So that, plus I made a help page. I gave it to Misha to review, and he really liked it, which is like a great compliment. Usually he's the guy to be able to find constructive criticism in anything, which is very, very helpful. But he, for the most part, liked it a lot, so fuck yeah. However, one suggestion that he gave that I super agree with and didn't think of, currently you can see that all the flags start with the change type and then color. So let's go here and search for color. You can now see that it all ends in color. And then a similar thing for symbol. Wouldn't it make more sense to start with symbol first and type second? I think it would. So let's do that, and thankfully the Rust LSP will let us just change them in one place, and they will be changed everywhere. Thank you. So instead of octussy symbols, we do symbols symbol octussy. Actually, should we even change this? Nah, I don't think so. But everything else here, yep. So color unpushed, and we basically do this permanently. Color all staged. Yeah, I'm still like surprised. I told in a recent stream that I tried out Fedora, but not the actual distro, like I didn't install it. Just the live boot of Fedora, and the fact that GNOME actually looks good almost scares me. Now, the reason why I picked KDE instead of GNOME to begin with is that I heard that KDE is much more configurable and more easily configurable, and well, is made to be configurable, when that's not really the case with GNOME. But if you're looking for something default that you don't really intend to change much, turns out, yeah, you can just pick GNOME and have a pretty good experience, I think. It was also pretty like smooth for me. Not like KDE isn't, but that's another surprise when it comes to GNOME. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Also, the GNOME terminal has a pretty cool feature. So it differentiates between scroll back and let me rephrase that. Basically, in your terminal, you can either execute the command called clear, or you can scroll what you're currently seeing to the top. So the GNOME terminal actually differentiates between the two, and if you scroll to the top, then you do still have all of your scroll back, but if you execute clear instead, then all of that is cleared. I like that differentiation. It's like pretty cool. Now, to be fair, Kitty also has that to a degree, but it's not as front and center as it is in the GNOME terminal. It's pretty sweet in my opinion. Boom. Now, there's probably someone that's gonna say, actually console on KDE does the same thing. I mean, maybe, but especially for something as integral to me as a terminal, I refuse to use the default one. However good it may be, if I come to an app and it immediately has like what, 2 or 3 toolbars, that is not something that I want to use. So let's go to octussy and car like this. And let's see. So octussy symbols, and then here it goes. Color unpushed, color all staged, unstaged, renamed. I forgot to rename the flags that I then use in the defaults. So let's go to here, yang until the last character, except the last character, and do this little thing. Color all staged. Then color all unstaged. Boom. Let's rerun and see what's up with that. Yeah, so now on the color unpushed, we actually explain how colors work, how you're supposed to set them. And you also have the default, so color unpushed is yellow by default. And then we explain what yellow means. Same thing for color all staged and color all unstaged. And pretty brilliantly, I think, we go on to use that flag for all the other colors. Basically, the default of this is what you set this to be, but you can still change it. I think that is a pretty good explanation. Yeah, I think that's quite great. So that's all I wanted to do. So what did I change? That, first of all. Let's just commit it under cleanup. Boom. And now the scary part, writing the README. I'm in terror whenever I need to write a README because it's like actual text and like it's not code. So it's a bit more difficult. Octussy, yes, it's referring exactly to what you think it does. This program is what I use to display git status in my shell prompt. By default, the program will remembered something that I wanted to implement. So let's implement a flag that will basically be a test flag. So test boolean arg long, and what this is going to do is just print every single element. Currently, if you want to test the colors that you changed, for example, with octussy you have to go to some git directory that has that element or create it, which is somewhat annoying. What if you're like checking out how your prompt is going to look like and you just want to see all the elements. Let's make that possible. So let's go to constructor. And how does this work? And user errors are then returned. Okay. So what we should instead do... Wait, I was thinking that, oh, I need to change the chosen glyphs and this. No, that's actually not what we're supposed to do here. We just need to provide different stats. The arcs can stay exactly the same. We just provide different stats, and that's like literally it. Oh, that's super nice then. So let's go to parser, and here we have stats. Instead of all this, or rather adding to all of this, we do 1. Or test. No, 1. I think it's more clear that way. That returns self. And what this will do, literally, is just set everything to 1. And that way, your prompt will display everything. Now we can go to main, actually. And here, stats is either option stats so match this if they are I'm trying to think how to organize this. Basically, if args test, then we get 1 set of stats. But if it's not, then we get the current one. How do we do this? The reason this is like an issue is because stats is currently option stats, and then we if let sum. Sure, we could make 1. Oh, right. Okay, that's actually easier than I thought. We can just wrap the output of 1 into sum. As simple as that. Yeah. So, if args test, then, and we can immediately put an else here. There's a trick. That didn't work this time, okay. Otherwise, so if test, if we do indeed test, then we 1, but it's going to say actually, so that's why we wrap it in sum, and that's it. We implemented it. So let's actually try it out. Let's car, but instead of help, we do test. And here we go. We get our thingy displayed fully with every single one. And now with test, we can be like, I see symbols. Boom. And now they're ASCII only. And we can be like color, and then maybe you implement an auto completion. Color unpushed. And let's provide it a color by, I have my colors here. I usually use yellow for it. Wait, no. Boom, okay. Well, it's not right, okay. So color unpushed is this, and color all staged, that should be green. And color all unstaged should be cyan. Boom. And now you literally get what I use. Legit, straight up. I'm also thinking about adding some nerd thingies for modified and delete and new. So for this one and for this one, you can see that almost everything else starts with some nerd symbol, except this. This is just added, and I think plus makes the most sense for it. We literally just added a new file, so +1. It's literally perfect. But exclamation mark for modified, that's super fine, I think, but there could be something better. So let's go to project and add nerd symbols for modified and new. Yeah, but now you as the user, or me as the developer, have the test flag to literally print everything, so we don't have to go to some specific directory. And the meat and potatoes of the program is color deleted, and then we go and take something like red. Boom. So you change the color of the category, but then you're able to change one of the colors. Maybe you specifically like that deletions are in red and want to differentiate them for some reason. You can by this. You set, like, by default, all unstaged things are cyan, but the deletions specifically are red. And if you change every single one of them, you don't even need that. But yeah. Every time I start streaming, my cat are just like, all right, time to meow. I think it's because I start talking and they're like, oh my god, she's alive. Fuck, I love this. This is by itself already a commit, but let's actually remember to explain this. We'll print every single element helpful for testing the output without having to be in a Git directory with certain changes. Okay. What happens? It just prints hello, that's convenient. Okay. So how does it look? Test will print every single element, helpful for testing the output without having to be in a Git directory with certain changes. Yeah. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's going to appreciate it. As the user, you'll probably like, okay, I set it to this color, but how does it actually look? Fuck, now I have to go and create that change to see how it would look. Now you don't have to, you just use test. That's so convenient. Okay, let's commit now. Add test flag. Cool. Is there something else? Figure out how to show unpulled commits. That's for later, but that's a pretty cool feature. And then that will add, let's actually write this in immediately. Add color all commits. That's not a name that's necessarily going to stay. Hold up. But for now, that's just gonna be the placeholder name. It may stay. Who knows? Add color all commits. Right. And that color will be basically yellow. That then is the default for both unpushed and unpulled commits, both of which you can color in some specific way. It's just that now I don't know how to use Git to figure out how many unpulled commits I have, especially considering that I don't often run into the situation where that's like a thing. Okay, colors default to 16. User can override with 16 or hex. We did this. User ordering of elements. Oh. Let's think. How difficult would that be to implement? They also pass an argument that... the first idea of how that would work, the user passes an argument which is all the letters if they are a staged change. Let's actually show this like this. So it's going to be like what, 7? How much is it? 4, 8. Okay, 8. So they have like unpushed, renamed, added, staged, deleted, oh, deleted is before. Deleted, staged, then modified, deleted, and new. They basically make this type of string to the flag, and each letter is like a type. This could be P, and then unpulled is U, something like this, right? Yeah, let's start with this, because considering that I want to eventually implement unpulled commits, this is going to be a good idea to do. Yeah. Then this thing gets split by character. And well, first of all, if it's not 8, it's ignored, the default is used, and an error message is printed. But if it's the correct length, then we check if every single character is in there that needs to be there. Oh, but what if they want to remove some elements? Okay, that's like also possible. So then if it's not more than 8 and doesn't contain a character that isn't one of these, that kind of approach. And then each character maps to it's mapped to an enum type, and each enum type gets constructed and put into an array, and then we for loop the array and basically like use that enum to add a certain thing. So basically this is super possible, super doable. It just takes effort. Show defaults in help, we did. Use ASCII only for glyph defaults. Nerd is the default, but you can do ASCII only, which is better. Add nerd symbols for, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So there's a struct for glyphs that takes in, yeah, that we did. However, if you remove some element, let's say you remove stage deletions, then it's just invisible. It's not like it's going to jump to stage things. I don't want my program to work like that. I want it to be separatory. It's only if you specifically don't care about this thing, for example, and want to remove it, or this, not sure why, but maybe you do. Or you want to reorder them, which is going to be more likely to be the case. So that's like a cool feature. Octussy, yes, it's referring exactly to what you think it does. This program is what I use to display git status in my shell prompt. The way you use it is by putting the binary somewhere in your shell prompt, so it's executed. In fish, that would be something like this. And let's try it out. So we do pwd and octussy. Printf. Oh. Yeah. And by the way, octussy without flags printing this, that's just because I used an old binary. And I may continue to do exactly that because I like this. I'm not gonna change it really. At least I don't intend to. So I might as well keep the version that is literally what I want. But maybe I'll change it like later. Yeah, so boom. Function fish, I forget if it's an underscore or a dash. Let's go to prompt, fish underscore prompt. The way you use it is by putting the binary somewhere in your shell prompt so it's executed. In fish, that would be something like this. By default, octussy will print this output to stdout. And now it's time to car queue test, and we xcp. Yeah. Cool, epic. Amazing. Amazing. Truly incredible. What if we instead just copy like this? We might have an easier time. Yeah. Pretty much. octussy will print this output to stdout. I think this is important to kind of like reiterate that there's a space after. Beware of this. Some symbols you probably some symbols aren't rendering correctly in the upper example. How do I word this? Basically, you need a nerd font for these two. It uses nerd font symbols for some of the elements. By default, octussy will print this output to stdout. It uses nerd font symbols for some of the elements. If you don't want to use a nerd font, use the octussy symbols flag. and then we show how that looks. So test and octussy symbols. How do I do this? Yeah, let's yank Q1 space capital S. Boom. By default, octussy will print this output to stdout. It uses nerd font symbols for some of the elements. If you don't want to use the nerd font, use the octussy symbols flag. Only the elements that are at least 1 are printed. Only the elements that are at least 1 are printed, making testing how octussy fully looks kinda annoying. That's why the test flag exists for you. That's why the test flag exists. You get to see the entire output of octussy regardless of how many changes your current get directory actually has. Without a new line at the end. Making testing how octussy fully looks kinda annoying. That's why the test flag exists. You get to see the entire output of octussy regardless of how many changes your current Git directory actually has. By default, unpushed commits are shown in yellow, staged changes in green, and unstaged changes in cyan, following your color scheme. You can change each category's default to either one of these 8 colors, and now we go to where? We go to args, because there I already typed them in. You can change each category's default to either one of these 8 colors, like this: octussy color all staged purple. Let's just confirm that it does work like I think it does. Color all staged purple. Yeah, yeah, it's that simple, literally, wow. Or by providing a hex color like this. Octussy color all staged. Let's go to colors again. What? Oh, right. Like that. Yep, it's the correct purple now. Like this, or we're providing a hex color like this. You can then override the default for specific elements if you want to. It's going to be a good idea to make screenshots and show them in the README to let everyone know how things would look. You can then override the default for specific elements if you want to. So octussy color all unstaged. So we have yellow. What other colors do we have? Blue? Sure, let's try blue. So color all unstaged blue. Color deleted red. Right, before we go like a lot longer, let's make screenshots for like everything. So first of all, we just test. Well, let's make the output like way bigger. This way. Everyone will be able to see the nerd font symbols regardless of whether they use a nerd font for their browser or not. And let's be real here, they probably don't. I think I don't. So what is this going to be called? Octussy default nerd. Let's go to home prog rust octussy, create a directory. Yeah, create a directory called image. Boom. I forget how you embed like a picture. I think it's this. Yes, image this. So how does this look? Boom. Yeah, that's perfect. So by default, octussy will print this output to stdout without a new line at the end. If you don't want to use a nerd font, use the octussy symbols flag. Let's save as. Octussy default octussy. Nice. I haven't ever put screenshots or like images in my readmes. That's pretty cool. A bit bad wording. So by default, octussy will print this output to stdout. That's not true, because it only shows the elements that are at least one. So by default, octussy will print this output to stdout. If you have every single type of change in your current Git directory without a new line at the end. It uses nerd font symbols for some of the elements. If you don't want to use a nerd font, use the octussy symbols flag. Only the elements that are at least Let's put after this an explanation for each one of those. The meanings of every element in order commits you haven't yet pushed to the remote, staged, renamed files, staged new files, staged deletions, staged modifications, unstaged modifications. Now I can see them. Oh, I can see it at the bottom, right. Unstaged deletions, unstaged new files. Ayo. Cool. So by default, octussy will print this output. I should mark this with fish in case that works. It does not. Okay, I'll still leave it in case it will ever work in the future. By default, octussy will print this output to stdout if you have every single type of change in your current Git directory without a new line at the end. Staged renamed files, staged new files, staged deletions, staged modifications, unstaged modifications, unstaged deletions, and unstaged new files. It uses nerd font symbols for some of the elements. If you don't want to use a nerd font, use the ASCII symbols flag. Only the elements that are at least one are printed, making testing how octussy fully looks kinda annoying. That's why the test flag exists. You get to see the entire output of octussy regardless of how many changes your current Git directory actually has. By default, unpushed commits are shown in yellow, staged changes in green, and unstaged changes in cyan, following your color scheme. Following your terminal color scheme. Following your terminal's color scheme, you can change each category's default to either one of these 8 colors, like this, or by providing hex color like this. You can then override. Right, we should make screenshots for this. So color all staged. I thought I copied it. I guess I didn't. I guess Control-C doesn't work here, which would be like my problem. Like this, and now it's purple. Boom. Staged purple word staged purple word. I'm thinking also to add the actual commands here, so it's fully understandable. Octussy test Then here, octussy test ASCII symbols like this. You can change each category's default to either one of these 8 colors, or we're providing a hex color like this. Ooh, this is kind of funky, but I actually kind of like it. It has a vibe. By default, okay, so by default, octussy will print this output to stdout if you have every single type of change in your current Git directory without a new line at the end. Here I basically just show what command I used. And then I explain it so it's not that confusing. If you don't want to use inert font, use the ASCII symbols flag. And that's where I explain it. Purple. I'm thinking to maybe change this flag to unstaged instead. To change this, I can even change this. But for consistency, basically here I picked purple following my color scheme, and then I picked a more specific color, and that's the change. I think that makes more sense. So instead of purple, we do this. Staged purple hex. Staged purple hex. You can then override the default for specific elements if you want to. Okay, I think after all, separating those will probably make more sense once the wording gets a bit bigger. Yeah, after all. So, color, right, I can't copy here. I like that in this screenshotting tool, you can make a screenshot and then change it a bit to be more specific. It's very convenient. Unstaged blue, deleted red. You can then override the default for specific elements if you want to. Same thing applies to the glyphs used. Octussy. Symbol. Unpushed. And let's add some cool symbol. Let's go to symbols and see what else I may have for unpushed. That's funny. It's too long. Let's go to the rabbit. It's a bit better. So symbol unpushed and symbol deleted. Okay. Boom. Cool, isn't it? I think it's quite a good readme for now. Explain things pretty well. Symbol, rabbit, unpushed, spider, deleted, Same thing applies to the glyphs used. The fact that you can change them, although you can't see the elements probably, you then see what they end up being. Interestingly, you're not restricted to a single character. So it could be a whole word if you want to. Okay, so octussy, symbol, unpushed, commits. You probably don't want that, but you can. Unpushed commits word is how I'm gonna call this. Screenshot. Unpushed commits word. Oops. A similar thing happens for colors. Octussy, color, staged deletions. And now a literal string. So we put this. This is my brighter green that I want to use for this element. Boom. Oops. Oh, right. Okay, let's yank Q T this. What? Oh, staged deleted, of course. sentence. Despite putting an entire sentence into the flag, only the hex color is used, ignoring all other text. You can use this behavior as a comment. Doesn't work with word colors. Since this program is something you're going to use, in your shell prompt, it doesn't print error messages by default. If something isn't working correctly, use the flag interactively to check what's wrong. Octussy test color on color dash unstaged and non-existent color this or verbose. Oh, Jesus. Incorrect hex color. Okay. In other words, your prompt will still continue to work, although incorrectly, if you specify a color that doesn't exist. In other words, your prompt will still continue to work, although incorrectly. Since this program is something you're going, let's actually open it like this. Since this program is something you're going to use in your shell prompt, it doesn't print error messages by default. If something isn't working correctly, use the verbose flag interactively to check what's wrong. X color specified is incorrect. In other words, your prompt will still continue to work via using defaults. Although incorrectly. In other words, your prompt will still continue to work via using defaults if you specify a color that doesn't exist. In other words, your prompt will still continue to work via using defaults if there are any errors. This prevents you from having a broken shell prompt because you specified an incorrect argument, for example. This prevents you from having a broken shell prompt because you specified an incorrect argument, for example. Hold up. You know what I ordered? I ordered like a water sprayer so that I can more easily repel my cats who are crazy. Okay, so that's pretty much the entire behavior of the application. Right, let's just look for the help. So those three flags are explained. The colors are explained. The fact that case doesn't matter. The case of colors doesn't matter. Yeah, that's it. I'm just so happy with how the chat looks, like, continuously. It used to be so ass, like so bad it couldn't get smaller than a certain amount. But now it resizes correctly always. It can fit to any size I want. It uses space efficiently, and whenever I want to type something in, I have a small, elegant chat window that I can use. It's just so good. It's literally so good. And it uses my system font too. Right, so everything is explained. Usage. Here we'll just print the entire help thingy. xcp. Actually, that's not gonna work, I think, because of these special characters. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Boom. However, we can make it look a bit nicer. Mm-hmm. Octussy doesn't print errors by default because it's supposed to be. We can lie a bit. Let's go to n. Mm-hmm. Nice. Lying, literally, because it's not going to look that pretty in your actual help page. For the category later down, nope. Mm-hmm. Cool. Octussy doesn't print errors by default because it's supposed to be in your shell prompt constantly. When you do want to see the errors, use this flag. Octussy uses nerd font symbols for some developments by default. Mm-hmm. Looks pretty now, even though it's a lie. Okay, so that's like the entire usage. The first section, I just explained the program. Then the literal help page. And the last thing, installation. Install. Cargo install. Octussy, yes. If you have it with default cargo, if you don't. Yeah, that's it. So, write readme. Mm-hmm. Did I do the things in TOML? I did. And that's kind of it, right? Pretty much. Let's go to cargo.toml. Is this a release version? figure out how to show unpulled. No, not quite yet. Not quite yet. Let's put it to 3. Let's cargo release 030. Readme exists. Release nodes. Then we push those. Create the tag with those release nodes. Push that tag. Build. Right. Okay. Yeah. Remembered something that I need to do. Oh my god. I feel like I just gotta put my cats in a different room. I wonder if I can change how the emojis are displayed in the chat. I'm not sure what font that is. I think it's Google emoji font, right? Like, what is this emoji? It's not gonna say. Oh, well, it is. It's just not going to show it very well. Or I guess it just won't. Okay. Okay, whatever. So, there is a way to build for multiple systems. So let's do exactly that. How do I build for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS in Rust? To build holy shit, Rust application 4. Okay, it's a bit faster but still super slow, goddamn. And Mac OS. Literally repeating my question. You can use you don't say cross-platform, really? Cross-compilate, yeah. ChatGPT does this annoying thing where instead of answering the question, it fucking writes a mini essay. All I really need from here is the commands to execute to add the packages to be able to build for multiple OSs and where to put what's in the toml. That's all I need. Here's A. Wow, why is it so slow? Oh, that's hilarious. Here's the concise. That sure is concise. Okay, that's like way faster. Yeah. I have a project. Huh. Okay. Do I need to use like that thing? Let's try to ask Find. How do I cross compile my Rust project so that I can be sure I need to install something to do this rather than just the thingies? Okay, let's do that. So Rust up target list. That's a lot, fuck. Okay. Arch64, unknown Linux GNU, ARM unknown Linux GNU, It's like a bit entirely too much. It's a lot of things they can compile for. Mm-hmm. I want to build for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. What are the targets I should pick? Because I have no clue which one I need, meaning that the user doesn't either. Just give me the like normal ones. Okay. Target triple for this. Uh-huh. Sure. Okay. Cool. Now I'll have like binaries for Windows users as well and Mac OS user. Why does it copy this? I quite literally like, you see what it's doing? What? That's a crime. Okay, so I have a Rust thingy. No, not this one, but Rust. Yeah, this I guess. Boom, target add. This is basically my setup script for Rust. When I install my OS, I then need to install a bunch of shit, so I just have scripts that do exactly that. Bash, home cargo environment, fish add path, Rust-up update, Rust-up component add Clippy. That's already added by default. It's not really needed. I'm not even going to care about 32-bit. Just like install from source kind of thing. If you have a weird system, I'm not gonna multiply my building process any further. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Cool, that was pretty fast. Loki expected it to be slower. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty like reasonable. Not difficult to any extent, which is pretty cool. Let's go to position, no, relative. Aha, fuck yeah, finally. Usually I keep messing them up. So here, cargo build release target. Nope. This one, cargo build release, doing magic currently. Build for Linux, cargo build release, target, Apple. Is that necessary? I don't know. I'm guessing no, but like sure. Build for all of these in release mode, and then we'll need to add more stuff like this. So let's take these commands and do exactly that. What? So couldn't... What? Oh, my bad. I didn't actually add the targets. Super my bad. Target. Really? You're not gonna... Okay. Fine. Right. How do we like add it to the toml? Linker. How the fuck do I know the linker? How do I add all those three targets in my cargo toml? Okay. Rest flags. Can you like work normally? Please. Boop. So this is for Windows. And then we don't care about 32-bit. Oh, well, that's convenient. And as always, it's Windows that's annoying, while everything else is fine. Okay, let's try building again. Really? Okay, it's like getting a bit more difficult. Maybe we can just linker. Who knows? Nope. Same issue. Yep, same. If it's too annoying, I'm not gonna bother. Fuck Windows users. I mean, they can still very much compile from source. It's whatever. Yeah. Of course not. Why would I have it? Like, why would I have the Windows thingy on my system? Yeah. That cargo bin. I should have that. Yeah. I super should. So let's echo home. Wait, no. Not home. But path. Yeah, we do have cargo bin. Let's ls it. Cargo bin. Yeah. It's supposedly restart your terminal. Sure. Sure, let's try that. Do your magic. I don't have it. Only the Linux one. Wait. PC, Windows, could not compile. Finished, but didn't actually work. Yeah. I see. So the Windows one doesn't work, so it doesn't execute the other thingies. That's good to know. So if one of these commands doesn't work, the others are not executed. I wasn't sure about multi-line commands and how they work. Right. As a Linux user, it's in my right to not care about Windows if it's the smallest type of difficult. And that's exactly my solution. Not caring about Windows because it's kinda annoying. So yeah, let's comment it out for now. What's in the living hell? What? I mean, of course, but that will take even more effort. Okay then, fuck cross blah blah blah. We'll just build for release and not care. Until I figure this out more concretely. Right, so let's care 0.3.0. Right, hold up, let's gf and now care So we built for release for my system. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, oh well. And we, yeah, all of that. Add ability to pick colors and glyphs. And that's kind of it. Add help page. Add readme. Boom. Oh my fucking god. GitHub CLI is so annoying that it forgets that I'm here. It's like, oh. Okay, so where did that happen? So gh oath login. Know what's the most annoying thing? It will now say, oh, you're already logged in, do you want to? And now it will work. That's the most annoying bullshit about it. So let's git push origin. Now I have to like fill in these myself. So like, that's so annoying. Let's look at it. I didn't want it to pick this title. Okay. GH release create. No, GH release create. Let's look at the help. Title. Release title. Small t or big T? Small t. Tagged version, and that's all I want. Please don't do bullshit for me. I'll do it myself. I think there's like a way to, yeah, release title, just this. Nice. I thought I published the .0. Oh, I did. Initial working release. You can pick colors or the ordering, but if you're fine with the defaults, you can already safely use the program. Add ability to pick colors and glyphs. Add help page, add readme. Cool. Epic even. Let's look at it at create.io. Right, it does not print a link to it. Okay, let's search for it. Octussy. It's awfully slow. Now, this I don't understand. Like, did 15 people really download it? First time I saw this with uCloner, and there were like a lot of people who downloaded it. But at this time, I don't believe it. I only really showed this off on stream, like once or twice, and whole 15 people downloaded it. I find it hard to believe. Okay, so you're telling me 2 people downloaded the 0.3 version. It just came out. Literally. So like, what? What's up with the downloads? They seem super incorrect. I was excited at first, but now I just don't believe it. Cool, it actually shows the nerd font symbols, or maybe just for me. Nice. Epic. Now, that's Cass. So now the binary that I have is the most recent one. If I call it, of course, let's call it with test. Here we go. Let's like change it up to actually be what I want it to be. So octussy, color unstaged, or rather unpushed. Color all staged should be green, and color all unstaged should be cyan. Let's do prompt.fish and look at it. GF maybe. Oh, works now. Wait, is GSA still using fucking octussy? I see what's going on. I need to repeat this config anytime I want to use octussy. That's pretty annoying. How about we do aliases and alias save octussy. Octussy set is now this, and we call octussy set dev no. And in Gitty we can change calling octussy to be octussy set. Oh wow, this is like super old. Octussy set. Actually, let's do it even better. Let's go to dot files and search for octussy. So we have this alias. Let's rerun. First of all, let's run aliases, then getty, then prompt. Redo the terminal. Let's GSA. Boom, works. Let's go up to prog and xach. Works. Yeah. Cool. And GPP doesn't use octussy, but xach uses it, and GSA does. And the prompt, obviously. So now when I want to change it, I go to aliases. Well, if I want to change, I guess, the default. For testing, the cool thing about it is that it's still the default, so I can test it properly. Like trying out colors and such. Better yet, I can octussy set, and like here we go. Cool, isn't it? Yeah, so let's go to dot files again. What do we have here? Let's... Holy shit. So we can... You don't even have to start with a specific start of a path. You just have to provide the thing that matches concretely and uniquely. You don't have to start with fish. You can just say rel and here you go. I did not know that. Holy shit, that's a game changer. Wow. Okay. And let's GMM. What even changed there? In relative. Remove default release title, or let's actually do it in the .NET thingy as well, while I remember, so I don't tag my releases incorrectly in the future. It's funny that somehow it's easier to cross-compile with C# than with Rust. There I just googled, oh, take this runtime, okay, and I took it and like boom, that's the entirety of it. Didn't work with Rust. I have some like errors about some stuff, and I have to spend time to figure it out. Surprising moment where the packaging and working with the language part of the language is better in C# than in Rust. Usually it's the opposite. And for all the people that are going to say that, oh, you just have to install this package and so on, that's fair. Like, yeah, I'm sure it's solvable and it's not that complicated, but the default behavior of stuff, I feel like, leaves the biggest impression, which is why I'm like surprised, I guess. Remove default release title, yeah, and use octussy 0.3. We'll do the same thing for binaries. So let's go to binaries, update octussy to 0.3.0. Sure, let's type in the previous version. I'm going to make it easier for searching in the future. Boom. Hey, yo. You definitely got changed. Yeah, yeah, you did. It took it like 1 billion like seconds to figure that out. Cool. Now you can just go in your terminal and cargo, hold up, not in Russian, cargo install octussy, and then you just put it in your prompt. That's literally it. And if automatically you had to X, what do you mean? Click, because that heinous title. Which one? Of the stream, or what do you mean? It is hilarious, to be fair. I love it. Cool. Octussy is done. Well, not really. There are still a few things to do. Figuring out how to show unpulled commits, and then ordering of the elements, and this also. But I might, for the moment, switch back to Floral Barrel to finish some things there. Octussy is the git status thingy that I use for my shell prompt. So this part of it is octussy. It displays, let's go to Floral Barrel, but I'll leave, yep. What? How? This, I guess, yeah. If we look at the git status, there's nothing there, but if we GSP, we can see how many commits I haven't pushed, and it's 6. So octussy takes both the git status s and how many commits you haven't pushed, or rather it calculates those itself. And it prints something like this if you had every single possible change. So it ends up displaying git information in your shell prompt, which is very cool. I've been using it for a while, but like a prototype of it, which did exactly what I wanted it to. So the colors and such were hard-coded, and I had to provide the input myself. But in recent 2 versions, first of all, I made octussy calculate all the input that it needs by itself, and you can now change the colors for all of these and change the symbols for all of these. So what I'm currently using looks exactly the same, but now it's more configurable for the other people that may want to use it. And all you have to do to install it is this. Boom. More realistically, like this. Let's go to Rust Floral Barrel and open that. To see what there is to do in that project. So first of all, this optional show name to pick from list. Oh yeah, that's an interesting feature. So in Floral Barrel, you can do a bunch of actions with the shows that you're currently watching, or plan to watch, but you always have to provide the title yourself. What I want to implement is the ability for the user to pick from a list of their shows. And that's going to be pretty cool. Then a certain issue is that currently, anytime the JSON file is changed, the order of the elements is random, which makes commits a bit more annoying. And that's like the first thing that I would want to fix. Make that JSON ordered. And this is the second focus, being able to finish or drop shows from watch later without necessarily adding them to the current.json. So that's what I'm going to do after, and then we'll come back to octussy to do features on there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 2 hours. Perfect. For now, I'm gonna end stream. Thanks for watching, everyone. Follow my Mastodon. It's in the description.